Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez, along with producer Alden Iwani. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Hope Boys head coach Jim Murphy, who Friday night passed the legendary Pete Schock of Silver and Cliff for 48th on the all-time list now with his 855th victory all-time. Coach Murphy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate being on.
Coach, there's so many things. You sent me a document, and Dave Eggers was the coach at Hope before you were in 1980. Uh, was he? Dave? No. I'm sorry. Who was the coach at Hope
Yeah,
before you were?
well, it was Dave Eggers and then Bob Reynolds just for 1 year. And he was the boys coach and the athletic director when I first came on at Hope. Dave Eggers hired me. And my very first year at Hope, 82, 83, I coached the girls. And the next year, Bob Reynolds became the principal, and I took over his athletic director job and coached the boys. So my first year with the boys was 83, 84.
Coach, we've I've known you for a long, long time, and your voice. I'm always teasing you. We don't want to tax your voice. It's a lot of coaching and instructing over the years that you've coached here. You passed Ralph Tasker is next on the list with 1,000 victories, 1,404 victories, and your overall record, and you got your 856 win against St. Pius. Your overall record 856 and 259, a 78.7 percentage. I got these from Marty Sice. And Coach, I know you're about the program, you're about Hope, you're about the community. We have to get this out of the way. Boys state champions in 85, 92, 99, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2006, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. What a run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships in a row. That, of course, was done by Mike Brown back at Academy, back in the day. Coach Brown, another coach, all-time, New Mexico, right? And, Coach, you're still coaching. I say this about Lisa Villarreal. You're still doing it after all those years. Coach, I have to ask you this, though, and we're going to have some great film from you getting silly stringed by your team. Sebastian Noel getting caught up in that, too. What did that mean in passing the legendary Pete Schock with 855 victories? You're 48th
Awesome.
all-time on the all-time list now. What did that mean?
Well, it was pretty special. It was special to do it at home. It was special to have the boys, celebrate with me. But to be mentioned with all those different coaches, I just got to be very thankful to the Lord that He was giving me health all these years to be able to coach that long. And my wife's been very supportive, a very supportive family. And you've coached, you refereed, you played, and just to be able to keep doing it, something that you love for these many years has just been very, very much of a blessing.
Coach, I think a lot of people, I tease you all the time, man. We had a nice talk at the Hope tournament. That was some great time we spent together. I really enjoyed that. You and I have been friends a very, very long time. And back in the day, we actually played ball together. Me, and Coach Ray Rodriguez back in the day. We had a nice little team, man. We were pretty tough. But I guess a lot of people want to know what still drives you to do this. You mentioned you've coached your sons, right? There's so many Hope players from the past. We only have half an hour, Coach. I wish I could get to every one of them, but it's a grind, right? You mentioned the Hope community. You mentioned the school, the administration, your wife, right? Angela. I mean,
Right.
the support that you have, right? Because a coach's life is in the gym. It's a grind every day, right? You were going to play tonight. Not enough officials. We'll get to that maybe, hopefully, in a few minutes here. But talk about what it's the grind every day, right? For 40 years, you've been there, and it's you have to have the support you mentioned. Talk about that because it's amazing, Jim, what you've done. It really is, and you're still doing it. And people have to understand that every night we're seeing a Hall of Fame guy on the sideline. So talk about how it's that grind has come, in all the support you've received from the community, your players, your wife, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team effort for sure. Lon Perry, he's been a great assistant coach for me for so many years, and he does a lot of things. But I think, Ed, you're still involved in sports. Maybe when we were young kids, we were gym rats back then, and now we're just a little bit older, and we are still in the gym. We still love the gym. We still love, all the parts of the game. But the influence you can have as a coach. My freshman coach back in New York wrote me a letter when I was in college. He came to watch me play at a game when I played Division III, and he wrote me a letter and says, "I hope you can give back to the game what you got out of the game." And it was kind of prophetic in that sense. I've been able to be a part of a game that we love, but be able to have an influence as a coach with young people for so many years. You did it both as a coach and an official, so you're still giving back to the game. And the game has been good to me in a lot of sense, and it's something I enjoy. You do something that you love, you don't really feel like you're going to work every day. But there's times it's a grind. There's times it wears you out. There's times when you get tired. But like I said, the support system between my family, the school here at Hope, and of course all my coaches and players down through the years, you get tired, but at the same time you enjoy getting ready for the big games and enjoy just competing. And it keeps you young. I hope it keeps me young.
I got to tell this story, because you're still an active ball player. And we were talking about this the other day. I had to quit playing because of my knees, right? And you still play at Hope. And I was laughing with you the other day because you're still out there with some young kids, right? And still competing at a high level. I admire that about you. Much respect that you're still out there. I wish I could still do it. You were talking about, I had to laugh about this, man. I was telling my wife and my son about this. Cody Topper, the former Lobo, right? Hey, the guy can fire from, 25, 30 feet, right? And you were telling me that you and Ben Wolf, the former Los Lunas star, who's a very good friend of mine. I love Ben. Ben, the former head coach at Los Lunas, played a year with Gary Colson and the New Mexico Lobos as a walk-on. Should have got a scholarship. I'll still say that. Ben should have definitely got a scholarship. You guys still play with him, and Ben is 60. Ben is in phenomenal shape. So when you were telling me that story the other day, I was thinking to myself, you were telling me how you denied Cody Topper the ball, and you didn't say you stopped him. You just are a smart player. You play with IQ. And I asked you, how do you play with that? Rick Dockstetter, your good friend, said, I don't want to play because I don't want to tear my Achilles. And so you did get hurt. I think you tore a quad a couple of years ago, but luckily you still remain pretty healthy to still be able to get out there and play.
Yeah, I mean, we got quite a crew that comes up Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Ben Wolf and myself and another guy named Ed Little are probably the only senior citizens that are still out there playing. But uh, it's still fun. It's great exercise, but a lot of us, are fortunate to be able to continue playing because like you said, knees, Achilles. A lot of the guys we started playing probably 30, 40 years ago in the mornings with a couple teachers, but and all those teachers, Coach Heisey and our chaplain Perry Floyd, those guys aren't playing anymore. So I'm very fortunate to be able to keep opening the gym in the morning for those old guys, and a lot of alumni come back and play. So it's something I still enjoy. One of these days I'm going to play more golf, but my golf game's terrible. I play maybe once every 2 years, but I still enjoy playing basketball. But someday I'll probably have to hang up the shoes and maybe go out there and get frustrated on the golf course.
Coach, I can't see that because you just love the game, right? And you mentioned that the passion we have for one of the things we love the most. I'm lucky after I stopped officiating, I was able to broadcast. Right, I've got a good seat and with the game, right? I'm right there, so I'm fortunate in that way. Coach, you've been around 40 years, right? At the same school, you've been there. Pete Schock went to Silver Cliff, right? Coach Tasker stayed at Hobbs. Coach Holzman stayed at Albuquerque High. Coach Frank Castillo at Cibola and then La Cueva. What's the most changes? Now we've seen things change, Coach. Now there's a big focus. Your Hope Huskies a big win against St. Pius the other night in overtime. We'll get to that. There's been a lot of changes with the game. You and I have seen it. When we played, there wasn't the emphasis on the 3-point shot that there is now. And you had Aaron Wells. You had some big kids inside that were very, very good. I wish I could mention all your players. They were great, right? We just don't have the time. What are the most changes that you've seen over in this game that we love so much over 40 years?
Well, probably a couple of things. One you mentioned, definitely the 3-point. Steph Curry and the 3-point line is a big part of the game. When I first started coaching, we didn't have the 3-point line, so that's changed. Technology has changed. Here we are doing a Zoom, Ed. Who would have thought Coach Murphy would be on the computer, doing stuff on the computer? But we do huddle and we do, we do technology stuff that we probably didn't do 10, 20 years ago for sure. Kids are somewhat the same, and yet they're different too. I think a lot of kids, old school doesn't always work. I think we're still pretty tough, and we have some discipline, but every kid's a little bit differently, and maybe the hard nosed coaches may not always work well in this day and age. So you got to adapt. I love full court, I love man to man, but I'm a pragmatist. If that doesn't work, I'm willing to try zones and other things. And so I think you got to be adaptable through the years as a coach. Some things that worked previously may not work with this team, and so you got to be adaptable. But kids still need praise. Kids still need discipline, guidelines. Kids need to be taught, and so some of those things are still the same. But like I said, there are some things that change. The game is much more physical. Probably, I think kids train year round, and they're probably stronger than they were back in our days, where lifting wasn't maybe such a big thing. But you go to the next level, it's a physical game.
No doubt about it. You definitely. We didn't have a lot of weight training, and it's funny because my coach in Highland, Tom Hogue, actually coached with you for about a season or so before he passed away. And Coach Hogue was old school as far as man-to-man fundamentals, defense. But back in the day, there was no weight training at all. Coach, I think COVID changed a lot too. Changes, as far as being everybody was kind of they couldn't meet, couldn't do this, couldn't meet in groups of five, groups of three, things like that. How did it change your coaching approach at that time? You mentioned the technology. You had to Zoom. You had to do a lot of different things, and thankfully we're mostly out of that. Kids have gotten to play, right? The kids got to play that year, and people had to be careful, right? Had to be careful about making sure everybody was healthy. Did that change your coaching approach at all during that time?
Well, I think it became a different perspective. It was more about not just the game, but what's best for kids and keeping them active and involved. I mean, it was a depressing time. There's no doubt about it. I mean, things were taken away from kids. Graduations, weddings, regular season games. A lot of things were taken away. I'm glad we were able to play an abbreviated schedule, but it definitely affected a lot of young people, and I think we're still recovering from it. And I think some of the changes were good, but a lot of the changes, I think, we kind of learned from it. Some of the things that New Mexico went through probably wasn't, hindsight. Playing with masks, take away the jump ball. There were some crazy rules that came in, and but we survived, and we're back to pretty much normal, and we're glad for that. And we want the health and safety of our players and our fans to be our four most important things. But at the same time, I'm just glad we're getting back to normal. Kids need sports. I mean, Ed, if kids aren't involved in activities, there's going to be problems, and kids need to be busy, whether it's a job or athletics. And athletics is a great life teacher, and so to take that away from them was really hard that year. And we were glad we were able to play, but again, it was a difficult time.
No doubt about it. We came out of it. Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more a little bit about some of your past and this year's version of the 2022-23 Hope Huskies after these messages on the sports desk.
Sounds good.
Rebounded again by Christian Smith. Back outside, here's Paige. Emily Biel works her way inside, and the basket is good.
There's Holland out front, weaving his way in and out. Nice spin move. Lays it up with the left hand and scores. Wow, that's the athleticism. Picks up the dribble, gives it to Lopez, fires across. One interception, takes it up and in.
And coming up with the ball is Pacheco. She takes off.
scoop, scored.
And so Julian's going to have to do something or knock down a shot like that.
Yes, a three for Roybal on the dish from Julian Chavez, who broke his defender's ankle on that play.
They got to go now. There's Holland with it now. Holland off the pick. Will fire a three at the buzzer and get it. Count that at the buzzer, and Holland makes a first three, and that's a timely three. Los Lunas is led, except maybe for the poked away by Holland. Holland in the open court will slam it home with two. So Holland gives. Henderson is trying to inbound it. Poked away. Steal by Schmidt. Schmidt trying to drive to the basket. Puts it up. Banks it home. Great shot by Schmidt.
Holland turns it over. Warren the steal. Guest steals it back. Here comes Holland. Takes flight. Yes! Send it in. Jalen Holland. Give it back to Holland on the curl. One more. Even better than the first. The rim rocker for Jalen Holland.
Doesn't matter if it's two or if it's three. Kellen Garris gets the shot. They're up by two.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others.
U.S. Air Force Special Warfare are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
As a mom, I try to make the best choices for my family and our health. That's why I choose Western Sky Community Care. It's a Medicaid plan with quality health coverage and special benefits like Boys and Girls Club membership credits, additional dental benefits, and wellness and support programs. I decide which Medicaid plan is right for us. I choose Western Sky Community Care.
Learn more about Western Sky Community Care by visiting discoverwesternsky.com today.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk, live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. Our very special guest today, Hope Boys basketball coach Jim Murphy, the man, the myth, the legend. Jim, I know you well. Jim, one time you told me, man, how long we known each other, man? You know, we go back years, right? And one time you told me you've got a face for radio, man. I never
Yeah,
forgot
right.
that. That was funny though. That was funny. I also remember that when I officiated your games, and you and I laugh about this. If you came and said, "Ed, they're hacking us," I told Lon Perry this the other day. I said I had to listen because Jim didn't say too much, to the refs, but your competitor, right? And you wanted to win, and that was about the worst that I got from you was Ed. And I'd say, well, I got to pay attention, man, because Jim doesn't. And I did to all the coaches. They had a legitimate beef, right? And again, like I said, I just admire the heck out of you as a person. There's some great pictures there with our ProView Network broadcaster, Sebastian Noel, and there's the silly string, coach. And Sebastian's caught up in the middle of that silly string too, man. What did that mean to you? Your players this year celebrating with you, coach? It's a big thing, right? You're in the moment. You can't sit back there and say, "Hey, wow, coach shocked," because we got a game tomorrow, right? But what did that moment mean to you right there?
I really downplayed it. I knew it was coming, and as far as that possibly could beat Pete Schock's all-time record there this year. But I kind of downplayed it. I really didn't talk about it because I wanted the boys to focus on the game and things. So my assistant coach is pretty good at keeping things quiet and telling the boys about it because I didn't really want to put any extra pressure. I knew we wanted to compete against Hot Springs. We wanted to win that tournament, and I wanted to focus on the game. So it was really nice that Lon kind of surprised me that the boys knew about it. I didn't even talk about it in the locker room. We just talked about winning the game and trying to compete against Hot Springs. And of course, Lon in the back things had this thing all planned out that if we would win. And so Lon's been such a great assistant coach. I mean, I just can't give him enough credit for what he's done. But it means a lot that the boys cared enough. And I saw him planning getting a bucket of, well, not Gatorade, but a bucket of ice cold water when I went in the locker room, and they poured that over me too. And to celebrate with your team and that they care about some of the accomplishments of a coach, it says a lot about those young guys.
No, and of course, they knew about it, coach. Of course they did, right? Now, you're going to downplay it as much as you can. I can tell the look on your face when I say the man, the myth, the legend. But I got to needle you a little bit, man. Right? I got to needle you because I know you. Coach, I want to go over just some top scores, and we can't mention everything, right? Aaron Wells, Matt Murphy, Andres Snyder, Alan Visser, Marcus Medina, Chance Nail, Josh Salmon, Jordan Leak, Colin Evans, Michael Jordan. I used to tease Michael Jordan all the time. Where's Pippen? I'd ask him. That guy was a funny kid, man. Zach Spangler, Christian Schlinker, David Eggers, all members of the 1,000-point club. I wish we had time to go over the rebounders. We don't, but those are just some names from Hope's past. We want to talk about switch gears and talk about your team this year. You came off a big win against St. Pius, and you lost to Pius earlier at the Rio Rancho tournament in overtime about a month earlier. You beat Pius, and I was watching the game Saturday night on TV, and Jet Wyckoff, great shot, right? A 3-point shot when you needed it, man, because you're down by 2. He makes a 3-pointer, drives to the basket, beautiful drive, and a great call by Rebecca Scotero, the official. Great call. Talk to us a little bit about that game and where you think the Huskies are this year.
We've had 2 games with Pius, and Pius is right up there in the top. I think we are in the top 10 in 4A. There are some good 4A schools for sure. And Pius is a great team, and we've had two exciting finishes. Of course, one went their way, one went our way. But, in 4A this year, we start district play tomorrow night against Bernalillo. And, Bernalillo is not a slouch. Of course, they don't have the famous coach Terry Darnell coaching anymore, but they're a good team. And our district is loaded with Valley, Academy, Del Norte. So we know they're tough. And then, St. Pius is in with Highland and some of the teams in their district. So, we've got a lot of work to do, but I think we're right in the mix of those teams. Jet Wyckoff is one of the players that made 1,000 points this year, this past week too. So some other milestones for him. And but all those players you mentioned, I tell the kids all the time, they paved the way, for us to get the opportunities to play in the Metro tournament, to play at the 4A level. And we played some good teams in the past, but I think those players in the past kind of paved the way for the kids that are getting to play, some of the great games that we get to play this year and hopefully in the future.
26-time district champion, 26 times. got to remember, again, you've been through this. You've been through the district grind. You mentioned that about Valley, and your district is no slouch. Isaac Dozell, the first-year coach at Bernalillo, Albuquerque Academy, ranked number 1, I believe. Highland number 2. I believe you were 4 this week. I'm not sure, but Albuquerque Academy. Marco C. DeBaca is doing a great job. Highland, Artesia with Mike Mondragon. They had a tough one with St. Pius. I thought the tournament was great, right? It always is. The 37th annual Hope Christian Tournament. It's always, Mrs. Escajeda does it. What kind of job does she do in the hospitality room? It's always good to see her, right? That's legendary. So, Coach, your district, I don't want to forget Jerron McIntosh and the Del Norte Knights. Coach McIntosh, every coach in that district, Coach Dozell is new, but Coach Darnell told me the other day he's just, he's learning, he's catching up. He hasn't coached in a while. He's going to be a great coach. That district grind that you have is going to be one doozy of one, man. It really is. And you're definitely Valley with Easy Panas, right? But Hope, what do you think of? Perry went down to an injury the other day. But what do you think Hope's prospects are? It's a tough district for later on down the year. You've got to navigate through this tough district.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that all these good teams are in one district. I know some other districts may feel similar, but when it comes to state tournament, even last year I thought Bernalillo deserved to be in the state tournament, and there's only those 16 slots. And I think looking at the overall picture in 4A across the state, I think our district deserves everyone needs to would deserve to be in that state tournament. But I know there's other districts, and like you said, Artesia and some other of the southern districts are really good too, and up north. But I do feel sad for one or two teams in our district, because sometimes they don't take multiple teams in a district. I think everyone in our district would be deserving to go to state, but it's going to be fun. Every night's a battle, and like our Artesia coach said, when you play a tough schedule like that, it prepares you for the state tournament, and our district will definitely prepare us for the state tournament. I think Highland was in our district before Los Lunas moved out, and since we've been in this district, Valley's won it twice, Del Norte's won it once, and then Highland's won it. So the state champ, wish it was Hope Christian winning those state champs, but the last 4 state champs have been right out of our district, with Highland leaving our district just a couple of years ago. So it's going to be very competitive. Great coaches, like you said. I think all those coaches do a tremendous job, and like I said, we're hoping that we can squeak out as many wins as possible and have a good chance to go to state again this year.
Got some great players yourself. We mentioned Jet Wyckoff. He's 1,000-point club. Noah Perry, Shimmerhorn, Christian Shimmerhorn. Braden Hidon, the freshman. How good has he been? This kid is here. His dad Sam played for West Mesa, and I think I told you he's a carbon copy of his father. Long arms, can shoot, seal the ball. How good has Braden Hidon been just as a freshman? How well has he played?
Well, this summer we were struggling a little bit at that position, and he was playing JV, and we thought about halfway through the summer we needed to put him on the varsity, because I thought he could definitely score for us. And he has his moments. He's a freshman, and there's times where he we think he can do a little bit more, but he's hit some big shots for us. I mean, that first game of the year we played El Dorado, and he just nailed two 3-pointers in a clutch moment. And even one of their assistant coaches says, that guy is expressionless, And I said, well, he's only a freshman. He doesn't have a lot of emotions there, but he's going to be a tremendous player. To be on the stage as a freshman, got good size and so forth. And then, like you mentioned, Christian Shimmerhorn is coming off an ACL. He missed his whole junior year with an ACL injury, and so he's back playing this year. And really starting to contribute. In that Pius game, he was really aggressive. And then, of course, Jet and Noah are pillars for us right now. We're hoping Noah is 100% come tomorrow. He did practice a little bit yesterday. Kind of took it easy on him because he got banged up pretty good in that last part of the game against St. Pius. Was concerned about that. We lost Derek Martinez this year, the game before, with the knee injury that happened last year. So it's a time of attrition. Hopefully our players stay healthy and everyone gets healthy, and as a team we start peaking at the right time.
Coach Jim Murphy, boys head coach at Hope High School, just passing Pete Schock on Friday night with his 855th victory for 48th place all time. We sure appreciate you being our guest. and we wish the Hope Huskies the best of luck in the remainder of the season.
Ed, thank you. Thank you for letting me be on. And friendship, I won't complain about your fouling anymore. Just maybe you're messing up on the broadcast. But no, I'm just joking. Thanks, Ed, for everything. Appreciate it.
All right, Jim. For producer Alden Iwane, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.